Germany will provide military assistance to Ukraine in the amount of more than 7 billion euros in 2024. This is provided for in the budget for the current year, which was developed by the German government in November and approved by Parliament in December. Even then, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius said that the increase in military assistance was a strong and very clear signal to Ukraine, confirming that Germany would continue to stand on its side.
And as important as our German contribution is, it alone will not be enough to guarantee Ukraine's security in the long term. I therefore call on our allies in the European Union to also step up their efforts in support of Ukraine. In any case, the arms deliveries for Ukraine planned by the majority of EU member states to date are too small.
By the end of 2024, the European Union plans to introduce over 1,300,000 shells. Most of them are for Ukraine and some are for replenishing internal reserves. To achieve this, EU countries will improve their production capacities, said European Commissioner Thierry Breton.
We are examining what options we have of making more ammunition and equipment, and also what we still have in our stores. What we think and communicate to our allies is that the cost of deterring Mr. Putin after he conquered Ukraine would be much bigger than the cost of supplying Ukraine to effectively defend itself against his act of aggression.
In the coming weeks, Paris will supply Kyiv with 6 Caesar howitzers and will be able to produce another 72 artillery pieces by the beginning of 2025. In total, we are talking about 78 howitzers produced during the year, and French President Emmanuel Macron announced his intention to visit Ukraine in February 2024 to complete a bilateral agreement on security guarantees and announced the supply of about 40 long-range Scalp missiles and several hundred aerial bombs to Ukraine.
We are going to do everything to try to hold the world together and not give in to the risk of division, and try to have an effective agenda that will ensure that Russia cannot and must not win in Ukraine. Because what is at stake is Ukraine, is our values, our collective security in Europe, in the Caucasus and the entire region. Therefore, 2024 will be a key year for Europeans.
If Putin believes that U.S. military assistance to Ukraine is blocked, then he will be shocked, said former U.S. Special Representative for Ukraine, Kurt Volker. He is confident that despite the delay, Congress will approve $61 billion in military aid to Ukraine in 2024. The leader of the Democrats in the Senate in turn said that there was a great degree of agreement between Democrats and Republicans on this issue.
There's a large amount of agreement around the table that we must do Ukraine and we must do border. There was tremendous focus on Ukraine and an understanding that if we don't come to Ukraine's aid, that the consequences for America around the globe would be nothing short of devastating.
The Slovak parliament supported an amendment allowing the Ministry of Defense to approve arms exports. This decision opens the way for state and private companies to continue exporting weapons to Ukraine, and Lithuania has already announced its readiness to repair Leopard tanks damaged during the combat operations in Ukraine, and it advocates supporting Ukraine with everything necessary for victory. Overall, Europe and other allies are increasing military assistance to Ukraine.
We can see what Ukraine's future can and should be, irrespective of exactly where lines are drawn. And that's a future where it stands strongly on its own 2 feet, militarily, economically, democratically. And each of these things is mutually reinforcing. Militarily, even as we're helping them prosecute the day in, day out, 30 countries have come together to make commitments to Ukraine.
In 2024, Western countries continue to support Ukraine, increasing weapons production, training the Ukrainian military and supplying military equipment for artillery, ground-based air defense and long-range strikes. Reported by Dana Kolesnik, Natalia Husak, UATV News.